Raising speed limits. Sounds like a crazy idea after years of the speed kills mentality, but is it? Stop100.ca, an Oshawa-based lobby group, is asking the Ontario government to raise the speed limit on the 400 series freeways by as much as 30 kilometers per hour. The current speed limits are 100, even though the average speed of drivers is well over that. Arguably, you'd be a hazard to traffic flow if you actually drove at the posted legal speed limit. Now, you might be thinking, wouldn't increasing the speed limit cause a spike in collisions and fatalities? Well, apparently not necessarily. The 400 series freeways are some of the widest roads on the planet, capable of handling hundreds of thousands of cars at high speed. How about the famous German autobahns, where there is no official speed limit, yet they're among the safest roads in the world? Clearly, having such low speed limits on Ontario freeways is causing more harm than good. Joining us in Toronto is Klimek, founder of stop100.ca. Chris, I lived in Ontario for many years. I can't remember ever driving only the speed limit. The only way that I did the speed limit is, well, if there was bumper-to-bumper traffic.
Well, first of all, Charles, thank you for giving me a chance to be here. And I'm really proud of being able to represent about 70% of people of this great province. Okay? So there's a vast majority of people, such as yourself or myself. It's about 70% to 80%, depending on a different poll that you look at. Of course, 100 kilometers an hour is an unreasonable speed limit. And the irony here is it wasn't actually set out of safety. Okay? That's why most likely you're not even driving 100. 100 kilometers an hour dates back to 1976, okay, when we actually had a higher speed limit. The speed limit back then, prior to February 1st, 1976, was actually 112 kilometers an hour. So no wonder you and I exceed the speed limit.
Okay, so if people aren't doing the speed limit, what's the issue here? Help me.
Well, first of all, we are not lawbreakers, okay? We're not all lawbreakers, but the speed limit turns us into the lawbreakers. Okay. 100 kilometers an hour is not a reasonable speed limit. Most countries on this planet post anywhere between 120 to 130 kilometers an hour. This is our demand to the provincial government. Number one, reverse the law from 1976, which has basically robbed the Ontario drivers from a much fairer driving privilege, from 112 to 100. Raise it to 120, recognize that the vehicle technology has changed. The drivers are doing much higher speed than the posted one. We are basically turned into lawbreakers the moment we enter the ramp.
What is it about, if you can give me a specific, what's changed in vehicle technology to allow us to hike the limits?
Well, again, mind you, I'm going to repeat this one more time. Even 40 years ago, we had a higher speed limit, okay? So it's sort of ironical that, with the, better vehicles today, much better vehicles 40 years ago, we're looking at, much lower number on the speed limit signs. What has changed? Specifically answer your question. Tires, brakes, airbags, seat belts, all of these technologies added to our cars over the last 4 decades are greatly, vastly improving the safety. Okay? And this is not just happening in Ontario. This is happening in all of the countries around the world.
Speed kills. I can't remember how often I've heard that, but it gets to the point where you start believing that speed is a killer, no different than cancer is a killer. You're not here to say that cancer is not a killer, but you're here to tell us that speed kills is propaganda.
Well, it's very much so, and it's sadly being spread by our own ministry and the minister Bob Chiarelli of MTO. And here's I'll give you a couple numbers here very quickly. To finally once and for all to end this propaganda and to give something to think about to the minister Bob Chiarelli. The government insists that 20% of all the fatalities in this province are attributed to excessive speed, okay? We have the numbers here. I have it on my iPad. I can show you. It's actually 6.6%. I'm looking at a table right here, okay? Well, you can't see it, but 6.6%, this is public data, okay? So only 6.6% of all the fatalities are actually attributed to excessive speed, okay? But let's trust the government on this. Let's assume it's actually 20%, okay? Now, here's what the government doesn't want you to know. Okay? And I've actually had to get in touch with a great man from MTO. I won't disclose his name. He has shared some great statistics with me. What the government is doing is they're lumping all of the fatalities into one basket. Okay? So they're not separating the 400 series highways from the secondary roads, from the city roads. Okay? So they're combining everything, saying all of the different types of roads, saying that 20% of the fatalities are caused by high speed. Well, the numbers I got, I can quote you exact specific numbers. On the 400 series provincial highways, okay, out of 564 people in the whole province on all of the roads, only 34, okay, so out of 564, only 34 occurred on 400 series highways. If you do the math, this is only 6%, okay, of all of the fatalities actually took place on our grade divided highways, okay? Now, if you take the 20% number from the government, saying 20% were attributed to excessive speed, okay, and if you combine that number with a simple math, with the 6% of fatalities that actually took place on the 400 series highways, you're looking at 1.2%, okay? 1.2, mark my words, 1.2% of all of the fatalities in this great province took place on the Ontario's 400 series highways due to excessive speed. So speed does not kill. I have all the numbers in front of me right here. These are published statistics, and the 6% number was actually obtained from the MTO as well.
Chris Klimek, I have no doubt that you've got lots of factoids on your website. Give us the website address one more time, and people can log on.
It's www.stop100.ca. We're basically asking the government to give us 120, 130 kilometers an hour outside of metropolitan areas. We want a reasonable speed limit, the same speed limit people in France, people in the Netherlands, people in Austria, Utah, Texas are able to drive. We want to be able to drive the same way most of the drivers around the world are privileged to drive.
Chris, thank you for allowing us to be passengers on your cause tonight. We'll stay in touch with you. You acquitted yourself very well. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Charles.